Hello and welcome to From Dial Square to Where on an amazing day, really, amazing couple of days for the club, for football as a whole. Momentous sort of historical couple of days, really, and we're here to discuss it today. Welcome to all the guests. We've got a new guest tonight who's never been on the show before, but we're delighted to have you on. Adam, if you introduce yourself and tell people where they can find you on Twitter, etc.
Yeah, I suppose I should have put my Twitter tag like you guys have as well. But great to be here. Thanks for inviting me on. Pretty much been an Arsenal season ticket holder since I was about 8, I think, back at Highbury. Missed those days. Seen the hard times followed by the good, and then back to the, I'd say, pretty hard times again. But yeah, it's been the last 48 hours. It's just been crazy. I think the last 48 hours in the football world is crazy as it is. But yeah, I've never known anything quite like it.
No, absolutely.
So lots to discuss.
An awful lot to discuss today, mates, and it's great to have you on board. And then we're on to some regular people on the show, as everyone will know. Ryan, how are you today?
A lot better than what I was a few hours ago. If you'd asked me this a few hours ago, it would have been the same as yesterday. Absolutely emotionally drained, distraught that someone could do this to us. Not just from an Arsenal perspective, to our club, the club that we've grown up with and the foundations we've had in place from the previous ownership, from everything that came before Stan, for him to do this to us completely, it wiped me out. And people say, why are you surprised? I'm not surprised that he did it. It's just the manner of how aggressively he did it. And the sneakiness of it.
Absolutely, mate. Well, like we've just said with Adam, we've got an awful lot to discuss really today. And Melvin, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Can't take it all in, really. I mean, it's like 12 cup finals in one night, isn't it? What's happened recently?
I know.
All the emotion.
You're in a different position.
Very
different position today, Melvin. You look strange for you sitting in the sofa there. You look all different.
I hired it for the night. I thought I'd come on this channel, which, you know what I mean? It's a bit so
well,
good.
You've got to make an effort.
You know, when I'm on Richard's channel or Ryan's, it's just like willy-nilly. But this is, you know what I mean? Top. They can't hear me.
Totally respect that, mate. Yeah, I fully appreciate it. You're very welcome again. And Richard, how are you, pal?
You know, I'm fine. Yeah, it's fine for Melvin to slum it on my channel. That's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, you could hear. Sorry.
No, what have I said?
No, it's perfectly fine. It's just standard, really, isn't it? So that's good. I mean, it's been interesting. It's been interesting a few days, isn't it? I suppose. And the good thing from my point of view is it's meant that I've almost forgotten about how crap we are on the pitch because none of that seems to be that important, really. So I've quite enjoyed it from that point of view. But obviously, the whole kind of situation has just been ridiculous. And it looks like it's maybe about to reach some sort of conclusion that we're happy with, although I don't believe that this is the end of the problems. In fact, it's just the start of the problems. It's just how they're going to redo it later on down the line. I believe it's not just going to. They're not just going to sweep it under the carpet. So we're not going to bother with it now. You know, they've run into a few issues with the regulatory bodies, and they thought, oh, hang on a minute, maybe this isn't the right time, and everybody's backing out. But anyway, we'll see what happens. It's good news for the time being, but let's not get excited that it's all over because it certainly isn't.
Yeah,
but anyway,
no, totally.
Better than it was yesterday, I suppose.
It's I think it is the start of things in an awful lot of ways, but let's get the first thing out of the way first, which was joining the European Super League. Let's get that done and dusted and out of the way.
Was we going to do that?
Looks like it's all collapsed.
I wish someone had mentioned it. I've not heard anything about that. What's that all about?
I know. Well, hopefully it's collapsed as quickly as it started. And once the dust has settled a little bit on that, we can actually go on to the major topic, which, in my opinion, is the ownership, which got us into this mess in the first place, which has dragged our name through the mud for years, and has basically, whatever relationship they had with the club, which was very, very small, if anything, has just been irreparably damaged, and we now know 100% that they have to go. They really, really have to go. And I just hope to God that, and I hate saying this word, or two words, I suppose it is, TalkSport. I loathe that company, but they're reporting that KSE went to the major funding body saying that if this does fall through, then they will sell the club. And let's just keep our fingers crossed that that is the case. Because I'll go to you first, Adam. I mean, I've put on Twitter, I've been quite active today for the first time in a long time, and this is my only my opinion, but that this is, you can tell by the statement the club put out that there was no direct quotes from Arsenal whatsoever. It was like, and I said to Amy Lawrence on the tweet, it's like Terry Wake having to come up in front of the camera saying, yes, my captors are treating me extremely well and they are looking after me. Oh, lovely. It's like one of those kind of statements that they had to make. They're under pressure to make because they had to do it. I don't believe that I think it was very pointed that there was no comments from any Arsenal people on that statement whatsoever. They only commented and showed comments from people from other clubs. And it just screamed out to me that this is not an Arsenal thing. This is a KSE issue. KSE were fully behind it. They drove it. They wanted it. And I'm personally keeping the fact that our great club, which they are obviously owners of, but they are certainly not very good ones, are not really to blame here. It's KSE. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
That's the opinion. That's the from what I can see as well. Because in many respects, it seems like the club was blindsided in many respects. Because everyone knows that Arsenal Twitter is not shy. We tweet about every single piece of merchandise we release is tweeted 10 times a day. So they're not shy in actually releasing stuff. But this just seems like it wasn't very well thought out, and a lot of clubs didn't have a lot of time to actually put anything out there. It seemed like the media have got a hold of it. So on Sunday, they had to kind of rush through this big, release. And first of all, it was 9:30, then it was 10:30, and, it was into the evening before it actually got released. So I think all the clubs were struggling to get their PR into gear. And even though no one could have been surprised about the Super League, let's be honest. I mean, it's been talked about for years. And it was inevitable, and I still think it will be inevitable. I still think that it is going to happen. It will just need to be better organised and and better marketed. Let's be honest. But yeah, it is completely owner driven. All of this is owner driven, from what I can see. You look at the clubs involved, and you look at the owners of these clubs. It's completely owner driven, and I think from our perspective, it just shows. I think we mentioned it earlier, why Kroenke got involved in the first place. This was his goal when he came into Arsenal. Let's be honest, he's a businessman, and he was now hoping he's got what he wanted, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen now with any luck.
Yeah, no, exactly. And since you've been talking, we've been joined also by Russ. Welcome, Russ. How are you?
I'm all right, chaps. What a crazy 48 hours or so, isn't it? Oh my God,
mate. Let's go to you next, because obviously you've just joined us. I mean, how are you feeling about everything? I mean, it's very, very hard to encapsulate. It's a very big question, really, with what's been going on. But how have you been feeling over the last couple of days, and then obviously what's happened in the last couple of hours?
Well, originally, mate, it's one of those, isn't it? You sort of hear rumblings and you go, oh, well, maybe not. But then suddenly it all sort of comes out and you're thinking, oh my God. I mean, I didn't like it. I've never liked this sort of proposal. It just doesn't make sense to me. I think Ryan said earlier, I think he was in his stream, he didn't wear anything Arsenal while he was doing it, which is strange for him because obviously he usually wears like an Arsenal shirt or something, doesn't he? And to be fair, lads, I didn't even wear my Arsenal pajamas last night, so
Arsenal bedding.
Yeah, exactly. My duvet cover and my but then it's all come out today, mate. It didn't really sort of settle, really, because once it was there and then it was gone. So But as Adam said earlier, this will come back. As long as there are American owners in the Premier League, this will come back, because this is what they want. They want their sort of franchise model where there's no relegation. They want that sort of tournament where they can make money with the TV revenue and stuff like that. So while there's American owners in the Premier League, this thing will rear its head again. Trust me. That is why we got to get Kroenke out.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. God, I mean, Melvin, you've obviously been a supporter since the Herbert Chapman days. So, I mean,
before that,
massive for you, all this. It wasn't really a surprise, was it? But everyone knows, I mean, I've already made it clear how I feel about the whole thing. I was just shocked and sickened when it all came out. And I'm just, at the moment, touch wood, glad that it's going in the right direction. It looks like it's all collapsed. But let's face it, I want to cover both sides, because there's people that watch this were all for it. You don't know. There's bound to be a few fans that wanted to be involved in that sort of thing. But how would you have felt, though, if this had all happened 2 days ago and Arsenal weren't involved? Just to play devil's advocate, if Arsenal's name weren't on there, and be honest, how would you have felt if we'd have been left out of that?
I would have thought, first of all, I've been disappointed, knee-jerk reaction. Then when I've actually got my brain into gear, stepped back and thought about it, I'd have been angry. I thought, this is wrong. I've been jealous the first 10 minutes, and then I would have actually gone, this is not right. This is not right. And it's proved it, because I don't think it's right now, and we were part of the team. A couple of things I think I'd like to say about this. First of all, people call us moaners, Arsenal supporters, and to a degree we do moan. But they can't say we've been moaning about our owner. We don't know what we're talking about. Now the world's seen what our owner's about. You know, everyone's seen it now. We don't have to go about, well, he's not done this. He did it himself. He's shown the world exactly how low he is. So that's one thing. The other thing is really what we've done not what's been shown the last 48 hours with this club. We're getting to a point. I've been, as you know, supporting them a long time, and it's always been the Arsenal. I think might have taken the "the" off of our name now, which I've never known before. Disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. And all the club could have done yesterday to make us even lower than what we are now after that debacle was appoint Mourinho as manager yesterday. That would have been the hat trick.
I know. That's the most annoying thing about this European Super League thing. We haven't had a chance to actually rejoice in the sacking of Mourinho. I mean, that's just unbelievable. That's really unforgivable that it denied us that happy moment. Richard, have your say on everything like this. I mean, could you have had any moment in your brain, did you think that of any of the good points of that, if there were any, which I don't think there were any, but of everything that was announced and what was supposed to be going ahead?
I mean, first of all, just on the Mourinho thing, I wouldn't have been celebrating that anyway, because I've got no interest in that club or that man. So I don't care what happens to him. I'm not interested in them. I'm not interested in him. And the fact he's been sacked is probably a bad thing, because he was doing such a crap job that now they might actually get a decent manager back, which they had before Mourinho. So it's not necessarily going to be good news, is it? But anyway, that's irrelevant to anything, really. Although it's quite funny that he did leave on the back of the fact of this Super League, apparently, and now it's not happening. So anyway, but I mean, I've never even really been a big fan of the Champions League, if I'm totally honest. And that's not just because we're so crap at it. I've just never really been a fan of it, because I always liked the old European Cup. You had to win the league to get in it. All this finishing fourth and all this kind of stuff. It's just not, that's you know, the Super League is just an extension of that, wasn't it? Anyway, that's always what it was. It's just about getting more elite clubs to play each other and to get more money. That's all it's ever been about. That's all the Champions League's about. I mean, the fact that UEFA and FIFA and the Premier League have been kicking off about corruption is quite laughable, really, when they've done nothing but be corrupt themselves for the last 25 years. So I don't honestly see that they've got anything to moan about. The whole idea of a Super League, a European Super League, is just total end of football as we know it and as we've always loved it. I mean, the Champions League was the start of it anyway, I believe, because I say you should have to win something to play in these tournaments. At least you win the FA Cup. We got in the Europa League because we won a competition. We won the FA Cup, so we deserve to be there. And we've hopefully now it might actually mean something to go on and win it. And if we win the Europa League, we probably do deserve to be in the Champions League. We've won a competition. We've not be fourth or third or second. We've actually won something. So the whole concept of the Champions League for me is always wrong. Was always wrong. And what you asked Melvin before about how would I have felt if we wasn't involved? I would have been delighted if we wasn't involved. I would absolutely have been delighted. The one thing that's actually annoyed me, I don't care about the Super League. What I care about is the fact that we've been attached to it, and that's disgusting for a club like Arsenal with the traditions that we've got in the English game. It's disgusting that we've even been mentioned in it. And I'll be quite happy if the other 5 clubs go into it and piss off and leave. I don't care. I don't want Arsenal to have anything to do with it ever. And if it means we have to get rid of it in the future, then that's what we have to do. Actually, I don't know whether that's going to happen a bit more easily. But Arsenal should not have anything to do with this because it's just not an Arsenal thing. You can understand why Chelsea might want to get involved, although they were one of the first to pull out. And Man City, because they haven't got a history and tradition like we have. I'm a little bit surprised at Liverpool. I know they've got similar owners to us, maybe. I'm a little bit surprised that they've got involved in it. They don't need to be involved in that shit. They've won the Champions League, European Cup 6 times. They don't need all that. Man United again. The biggest club in England, certainly in terms of support and all that kind of stuff. And it's ridiculous. And the fact that these clubs have even the fact that we're now going to be tarnished with these founder members of the European Super League, we'll always be tarnished with that forever because there's no getting back from it. Yes, it's not going ahead probably now, and we're withdrawing everybody else, but we'll always be tarnished with that, and it's going to ruin our reputation. And everywhere we go now, when fans are back in next season, other fans are going to be throwing that down our throat, and deservedly so. And we've got nothing to come back on. We can't turn around and say anything. Yes, it's not our fault as fans. We didn't want it. We know that. It's not the players' fault. It's not the manager's fault. It's not anybody else's fault other than our owners. But ultimately, we're now attached to that forever. We'll always be attached to this. And, we were one of the big movers and shakers in the start of the Premier League as well. If you remember, David Dean was one of the major factors behind that. So we've got kind of a little bit of a history of this maybe. But this is a lot worse. This is far worse because the Premier League wasn't really a lot different to what we had before. It was just a little bit more money to be made at the top from the TV deals and stuff like that. It was still a domestic competition, and it wasn't jeopardizing that, was it? But this is just the whole idea of this. It's obvious it's going to happen at some stage in the future. It's obvious. They're not just going to. They wasn't maybe expecting the opposition from the. It's nothing to do with fans. Let's get it clear. This isn't fan power that stopped this. Nothing to do with it at all. A few hundred people protesting at Leeds last night and a few thousand Chelsea fans. That's not the reason. Loads of people making comments on Twitter. The reason is because the governing bodies of football, UEFA, FIFA, and the Premier League, the FA. They've all put up barriers and they suddenly thought to themselves, you know what, this isn't the right time for this. And they've all withdrawn. But it's going to happen later on down the line. It's something to do with the fans because the money is much greater. The money involved in this is far greater than what we do. We can't do anything about it. Every single fan of every single club of those 6 clubs could have come together, made no difference. If they wanted to do it because the deal was there and it was the right deal for them to do, they would have done it. And they still will do it in the future, despite the fact that they know nobody wants it. The players don't want it. It doesn't matter. They'll just get a load of new players that do. The managers don't want it. They'll just sack them and get new managers in. The fans don't want to go. They'll fill the stadiums with people that do. There's going to be loads of people around Arsenal football now and the Premier League and Arsenal and all these big clubs. They're a global brand. We've got more fans outside of England that can't go to games than we've got to go to games. So we don't matter. They don't even care. It's obvious they don't. They haven't cared for last year. Sky have never cared. BT have never cared. So for them to come out and say all this they've been doing over the last 2 or 3 days, that's hypocrisy at its finest. They don't give a shit about it because they never have done. And suddenly now they're saying, "Oh, look how badly the fans are being treated." Yeah, you don't care sending us away on a Monday night somewhere so that you get your money. Do you know what I mean? It's the whole thing. The football is corrupt from top to bottom, and until that corruption is finished, we're always going to have these problems. And unfortunately, it's like what's happened tonight is with this maybe being overturned is one form of corruption has beat another form of corruption. It's not a victory. Nobody's won. it's just delayed the inevitable, which is this is going to happen later on down the line. I just hope that Arsenal have nothing to do with it, because if they do, I'm out of the club completely. I'll never support them again, because I cannot support this, because it's the most damaging thing to everything that I grew up with. The reason why I like football, the reason why I supported Arsenal, it's almost been damaged, almost maybe permanently this week, just from us being involved in it at all. But if it actually goes ahead in the future, then that's it. I'm done completely. I'll never ever support Arsenal again.
Adam,
yes.
You were on the meeting as well.
Yeah, I was.
Just now, yeah. I mean, they talked a lot about at the end, towards the end of it, about what we do now, about the ownership. And there was a lot of sort of interesting stuff there, and there was a poll put up and about the should they protest on Friday? Should they not protest on Friday? What did you get from that, really? And what are your thoughts, really, about how we have to sort of move on from here as a club? Regarding our ownership.
Yeah, obviously, I think that I don't know any Arsenal fans who want the ownership to stay. Not that I know of anyway. I'll be very surprised if you come across anyone who will say otherwise. The problem is, if we go out on Friday evening in our thousands and protest, does Kroenke really give a damn about that? Really, he don't care. He's still getting his money, he's still earning, and there's a lot of thing about now saying, oh, like the fans have won because of because of like the ESL or whatever. It's not, like Richard said, it's not the fans. It's just the fact that the governing bodies have said, actually, we don't want this now. But like we all know this is going to happen. But as much as people are saying, if the fans organise and mobilise, we can make a real difference. To these billionaire owners, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. The only really way of making it matter to them is by not putting money in their pockets. That's when they're only going to pay a bit of notice. And the only way of doing that is by boycotting games, buying merchandise and stuff like that he says wearing a shirt right now. But even with that, if the fans boycott, you're still going to get, the holidays, people coming over on when you can go back into stadiums, etc. You're still going to get the people coming over on trips who are going to be snacking at those tickets for double the price that the fans are paying now. You're still going to get everywhere, in Asia, buying the shirts, buying the merchandise. It's never going to change, But really, the only way of these owners taking any notice is in their pockets, and that's it.
Well, let's hope
stadiums.
For that case.
Empty stadiums, yeah.
This is exactly what he was leading up to. I believe that. That's what he wanted all along. And if it has been scrapped, which is almost certain, then that might be, fingers crossed, the straw that broke the camel's back as far as it's concerned for the Kroenkes.
It's only a temporary halt, isn't it? It's not been binned off forever. It's just temporary. So he's not going to leave when the prospect for this happening in the future. He's waited 10 years already. He's probably quite happy to wait another 10 years to get it. I don't believe that it just because it's been put on hold for the time being is going to make him leave.
Can he afford to wait time though, Richard? Can he afford to wait to get the money? Because if you're talking about another 5 years, I don't think he's in the greatest financial shape now, is he? Can he have in better financial shape than me and you, million in the next 2-3 years? Is he happy to do it, or can he do it?
Well, yeah, we don't know exactly. I'm not his accountant, unfortunately. But
it's more important. Does he get on with his wife?
Better ask her, Melvin.
Maybe we should turn on her. Maybe that's the way to get him out. If we can do it, and he's got a divorce to pay for, then happy days.
Well, also, since this has all come about this evening, the stock shares, after going up initially of all these clubs, since this, like the Chelsea and Man City domino effect has happened, Barca have actually rumoured to be us as well, all the stock shares have been plummeted backwards. So
it happened yesterday even, Ryan.
But it's gone again as well.
Yeah, down again. People are resigning left, right, and centre. People do not want to be involved in this anymore and have their names involved any longer than it has to be. The people are resigning left, right, and centre. Can you believe that Woodward has gone straight away from Man United? That is
end of the year.
He leaves at the end of the year.
Yeah, end of the year he's gone. Yeah.
that is big news. And Agnelli's gone. Perez has gone.
Mm-hmm. Well, you could look at it the other way, couldn't you? You could look at it the way these guys, none of these guys like their jobs, and they just thought, oh well, we'll put this out there, and it gives us all an excuse to leave.
Well, look at Perez.
I think they're all going to come together and form a new association. All these guys, Woodward and all them, they're all going to join up together and form a new footballing body, aren't they? That's what they're going to do.
Charity,
and they're going to get it funded by the bank that was going to fund the Super League. So they'll have all the money in the world. They'll set up a new federation, and then they'll just get clubs. They'll just buy clubs into that. That's what they're going to do. It's quite obvious.
Well,
that's why they're all designing from their clubs.
Well, they could do that as long as they leave our club alone. Full stop. They can do what they want then. Leave our club out of it, and then
I don't care what they do.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, exactly. As long as we're not involved, I don't care. But unfortunately, our owner will be involved because he wants to be involved. And
he can be involved as long as he's not at the club. He can be involved as long as he's not at the club.
Well, no, exactly. But at the moment, he is. And
I know that's
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
But I think that
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, lads.
No,
I think
go on.
One of the problems will be though is that I think if Kroenke is to go, he's only going to go if someone buys him out. And the person who buys him out is going to be rich. It's just going to be the same merry-go-round again. You're just going to be bought by another rich owner who's going to be in it to make money, who's going to probably want to go into a Super League again.
No.
So it's
rich owners aren't a problem. Look at Chelsea, look at Man City. They've got rich owners. And
there's different types of owners, isn't there?
Yeah. Exactly, different types of owners. That's the point, yeah. We can get a rich owner who isn't a complete corrupt arsehole who just wants to take us over to America.
He just wants business. He runs it like a business, where Abramovich will run it like his toy, his plaything. There's different types of owners out there. Unfortunately, we got the one that's a stingy bastard. But,
well, it's like that, isn't it? With all due respect, if you look at it, Glazers, Henry James, and Kroenke, all American owners, all don't like putting their hands in the pocket.
They all took out massive loans to buy their clubs as well.
Yeah.
I know Stan's very silent, but where's Josh? He was giving it a bit of chat a year or two ago, wasn't he? Where's he?
He's excited. Josh,
his father's ass by the looks of it. He's just a little puppet.
Very true, James.
Great point. Exactly. That just proves it, doesn't it? You can have a fantastic owner who's rich as well, and Leicester are proof of that. And why can't we get an owner like that? Why can't someone like that buy Kroenke out, give him whatever he wants to get rid of him? Yeah. Someone who actually cares about Arsenal and wants to move the club in the right direction. Why can't we find that? Leicester imagine a little club in the Midlands that no one, a city that nobody likes that's falling to bits, and they've managed to get home like that. And we're in a capital city of England, one of the most powerful cities in the world, and we've got an owner like that. It's ridiculous. Why can't somebody come and buy us? Anybody that's like the Leicester O's got that intention, that much money. There's loads of people out there with loads of money.
We should be advertising this. We should get Cilla Black's old record. Anyone who had a heart and played it around the country, and
a few billion as well.
You know what?
A couple of billion, yeah.
After all we've been talking by Stan, I'd even take fucking Flamini for crying out loud as an owner.
He's got money, hasn't he? He's got the change.
Yeah, exactly.
Our KSE forced all the shareholders to sell their shares.
Yeah.
And it's a way that we could actually get the fan ownership back on board. And if there's any way you could take a step towards being like the German model, 51% fan ownership.
Yeah.
That has got to be the way that we should go if there's any way whatsoever possible to do so, because that would be fantastic. There'd be we'd have the majority share. Nothing could be done without the fans' agreement. Full stop.
Nothing can happen because he's got 100%. And if he stays, end the story.
If we can get this prick to sell the club,
what
I'm saying is, exactly. That has got to be a consideration. There's got to be a way that we could somehow.
Our fans can't agree on whether the manager should be in or out. So how are the fans going to agree to any decisions to take the club in any direction? After 51% will be saying, well, we need to sack the manager. The other half will say, no, we need to keep the manager. Let's trust the process. And then there'll be another half will say, well, we need to buy this player. The other half will go, no, we don't need to buy that player because he's crap. We need to buy this player. And we're never going to get anywhere. If the fans owned our club, let's be honest.
At least we've got to say.
Confused when we were at
Highbury. Fuck all at the moment. Fuck all. So it's got to be a way that's got to be looked at 100%.
I want Leicester's owner. I want another Leicester owner to come and buy us. I don't want the fans to have any say, because our fans haven't got a clue. Let's face it, most of them. Honestly, they haven't. So I think we should steer. The fans should be kept well away from it. And also, I think when is that emotion involved as well? You know, we wouldn't make sensible decisions for Arsenal. We would make emotional decisions. I know I would. You know, you lose a game, right? Sack all the team, get rid of every single player, all of them. Manager's gone, all the players gone. Then you think, shit, I've got no players for next week's game now. But that's what we would do as fans, because we're emotional, and that's how we would do it. You need someone who hasn't got that same emotion, who can detract away from that and actually make the right decisions at the right time. We wouldn't do that, not just us personally. I mean, Arsenal fans in general, because we're too emotionally attached and we're too involved. So we can't possibly be able to make those decisions. We wouldn't be able to, because we would make the wrong decisions, because we wouldn't be using logic or reasoning. We'd be using emotion, and it would just fall flat on its face quite quickly. Because we would have 5 managers in every single season, at least 5 different managers. As soon as we lose a game, the manager's gone. 1 game or 2 games, you know, I mean, we lose to Tottenham once, that's it. The manager's gone, half the team are gone, and that's what's going to happen. We need someone who understands the business side of football, because it is a business. It's always been a business, and we need someone who can understand that to make the decisions. But someone who actually cares about moving a club where it needs to be and understands the history and traditions of the club. And some fans probably do, but
ain't that contradicting what you said? If you want an owner that cares about the club deeply, who's a fan of the club, ain't that going against what you just said? Isn't he going to be
not necessarily a fan, just someone who cares.
He's going to make the right decisions.
I mean, you can invest in a business, right, that you might have no prior knowledge of particularly, but you invest in a business and you look at that business and think, I like this business, I really want it to be a success, and I know what needs to happen for it to be a success. You don't have to necessarily have been a fan of that business previously. You just got to understand what it means and how to make it successful. And that's what we need, somebody like that. Not necessarily a fan of the club. I don't know whether that would be a good or a bad thing. As long as they've got the right intentions, then to me, that's half the battle, isn't it? But not only having the right intentions, they need to understand how the business of football works and, you know, do things in the right way. And, you know, I actually looked to Roman Abramovich, and I know we don't like Chelsea, and I can't stand the way that he came in and did what he did. But looking back in history, you've got to look at what he did at Chelsea. It's amazing, really. And the guy at Leicester as well.
Absolutely.
What they're doing.
You've got to get lucky, isn't you? Got to get lucky.
Is it luck, or I don't know what it is, but yeah, possibly. I mean, the guy that bought Man City was going to buy Newcastle, so they almost had that. Do you know what I mean? And maybe there's a guy out there that is desperate to come, and maybe that African fella. Maybe he's the guy.
The richest guy in Africa, apparently.
He seems to have an interest in Arsenal.
He's like the sexiest man in Jamaica. We got the richest guy in Africa instead.
Well, you know what I mean. But I think there'll be people out there. There will be. It's just will Kroenke sell? That's the problem. How do we make him sell? Is this going to be the thing that makes him sell? I'm not sure if it will, because I still think this is just on the back burner.
Reports coming out already that it is. So we're just going to have to really, really hope that that's going to be the case. I mean, Ryan, I haven't heard from you in a little while. And what I'm going to say is, I had a quick chat with someone on Twitter as well this evening about not just the board, but getting the right people on the board as well. Not when I say the board, I mean the owners, but getting the right people on the board. And he sort of shouted about Pat Rice, Bob Wilson, people like that who should have a say on the board at Arsenal. I even mentioned, because of the young guys we've got sort of running the club at the moment in Edu and Vinay, you know, even names like Ian Wright, Tony Adams. People like that who are more in that sort of right sort of generation, but have got a deep passion and love for the club, having a say. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I'm totally all for it, personally.
Well, I'm 100% all for it. I've been saying for a while now, Melvin and the guys have vouched me. I've said it on my channel a few times recently, quite a lot actually, that in terms of Vinay, I'd completely get him out of the... If not out of the club, off the wage bill in the sense of what role he's in, and go and approach a former player. And I've put forward personally David O'Leary, another person, the most appearance-made player in our club's history, does love the club, and he does love the club. I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, his daughter does have social media. Whenever someone puts out something about his dad in connection with Arsenal, she's always liking it and retweeting it, no matter who it is. It's literally she's like pro. She's pro. It's like for her to do that, she must be going back to because her and her dad are like that as well. They're very close. But yeah, we need Arsenal men and Arsenal, not just footballing men, but Arsenal men that love the club. Like you said, David O'Leary, Tony Adams, David Seaman, Keown, Campbell's of this world.
Bob Wilson's a great shout.
Bob Wilson, Pat Rice, even Charlie George. Them sort that ilk of ex-player, not any ex-player, that sort of ilk. Even Henry as an ambassador of the club, things like that. Not as a coach or anything like that, as an ambassador of the club. Because he came to love this club so much. He's a fan of the club. Give him an ambassador's role. Like he's done with Perez and things like that. And in terms of Edu itself, I've even said, don't sack him. No need to sack him. He's earning them a job, but he shouldn't be doing it on his own. Mark Overmars, a former Arsenal player, he's currently leaving Ajax at the end of this season. Why can't we go and approach him, give him a 3-year contract, and in them 3 years, he's then there with Edu, helping him, moulding him, and helping him adjust to the European game. And after them 3 years, we reassess things, see how we are.
Dennis Bergkamp.
Dennis Bergkamp. I mean, his son's literally next door playing for Watford. So there's no excuse there. There's no excuse there because he's always said he wants to be a coach. Or he wants to be back in football in some aspect, but he wanted, because his family was so young at the time, he wanted them to sort of spread their wings first before coming back and getting back into the game and all that. Well, his son's over here now. His daughter is over here with her boyfriend up in Manchester. So 2 of his kids are in England anyway.
I know.
So,
Melvin, and I'll come to you just a second, Russ, as well. But Melvin, I heard a few people as well on Twitter suggesting that they would love Wenger back on the board. On the board, what would you think about that?
As long as got a lot of respect for the guy. I think as long as he stays on the board and there's a white line drawn between the board and the changing room. We can't have him overseeing a manager. He's on the board to do what the board should be doing, making big decisions for the club.
Something like that.
Yes, exactly. I don't want him like the middleman to the owner and all that business.
No.
He never wanted it when he was manager. I don't think I'd want him there for his influence as a manager on our club. He's done his bit, thank God we had him, fantastic. But he's done his bit as a manager. Don't go back there, even in part. If he's going to be on it, he's got to be on the board, wear a shirt and tie, go there Tuesday afternoons for the meeting and crack on and make some which he's a very clever man, make some astute decisions. All these players are talking about, yes, they're okay. But then again, it comes down to the old thing, we know what their personalities are like, and they have got fantastic personalities. A lot of these Arsenal footballers. I mean, you think about it. We must have more people on television as commentators from George Graham's team than any other team. We can go through the whole team. They've had a time on either TalkSport or BBC or Sky. So there's obviously they know what they're talking about. They get it across. They could do a good job. But then again, it gets back to the other argument: well, does good footballer make a good manager? Not necessarily. Just we're having a great thing about Dennis Bergkamp. You ain't got, the guy was a genius on grass. Would he be a genius in a boardroom? I don't know. I think we've got to be a little bit more selective. In a beautiful world, we'd have Patrick Vieira as manager, Bergkamp on the board, and Freddie Ljungberg doing something else. It doesn't always work like that. I think we have to look a little bit further out as well. Yes, we'd love to have all our ex-Arsenal players running it all because they have got it in their heart. But sometimes that's not enough. You need a bit of knowledge.
No,
I think I'd love to get someone from either one of the big German teams or Overmars does qualify, one of the Ajax people, because they've done it for years. The way they run their team, the way they teach kids football from the age of 8 through to the first team. It's just beautiful the way they do it. On a low budget, they produce so many good footballers. And if it wouldn't be for the league they're in, they'd be a tip-top team because they'd bring money in from the skies of this world. So I would, yes. Overmars would be perfect.
He'd be
I think
outstanding. Yeah,
he was a great footballer for us, not for that long, but a great footballer for us. He's obviously a very intelligent guy, and he's been successful, and he knows how to do it from a club that knows how to do it properly. So I would love to get someone like him, or someone, some say from Germany, because let's face it, whatever Germany do, they seem to get it right.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, very much so. I said, Russ. Well, I mean, you've been listening. Obviously, what we've been talking about last few minutes, and so on. What's your thoughts about all this? I mean, about getting people on the board, and do you think it should be something that's a priority that we look at, getting new blood onto the board? Because I think it is a little bit light there, really. But I mean, there's a whole lot to digest there, really. But regarding the ownership and that, but let's concentrate a little bit on this side of things about the board, because we've got rid of an awful lot of people, and it does seem that we have got some kind of gaps there. And what sort of person would you bring in? I mean, I put a thing on the screen earlier from James Johnson. Thanks ever so much for watching, James, from the Purely Arsenal podcast. Please go and check it out. It's brilliant. He's put, it doesn't want us staying back at all. We need to move forwards, not go back. I mean, in a position like a chief executive type role, I mean, would you be against that? Or, how would you like to move forward?
Well, as Melvin's said already, we all know what Arsene is. He's an accountant. He's Le Professor, wasn't he? I mean, he's a very, very intelligent guy, and I'm sure any job you could put him into, and he would do it to the best of his abilities, and he'd probably get results. As Melvin said, as long as he stays away from the pitch, because that line has been drawn. That's he can't get involved in on the field affairs for me. If he does come back, I wouldn't say no to him coming back, because as I just said, he knows what he's doing. He's a very, very clever, very, very clever guy. So I wouldn't mind having Arsene back in some sort of capacity. I wouldn't mind that at all.
He'd fight our corner, wouldn't he?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and he knows the ins and outs of UEFA as well, doesn't he? He knows of all the FIFA with all of his jobs and everything else, so he knows what he's doing. I wouldn't mind having him back personally, but as with the board, I mean, that comes from the top. The people who own our club don't know what they're doing, so how are the people below them meant to know what they're doing? Because they're obviously. We get rid of people all the time, and obviously they're not making the right recruitment in the right areas in the first place. This has been going on since they've sort of taken over. You've had like Mislin, Tats, Gazidis, and all these people go, and we go, oh, these people have gone. Oh, are they going to correct it? And the answer is no, they haven't. They've brought in another lot of people, and nothing's improved. We've actually gotten worse on the pitch since Gazidis has left. We've gotten worse. And it just stems from me. The Cronkies just do not know what they are doing. They do not want football people on the board. They do not want people on the board, in my opinion, that know more than what they do. That is what I seriously think. They want to run everything themselves, and as I just said, they get the recruitment wrong every single time. And until either they sort of a light bulb goes off in their heads and think, oh, hang on a minute, we've gone about this all wrong for the past however long we've been in charge. Let's actually focus on getting the right people and actually getting the right people, instead of saying, oh, we'll get Raul Sanyehi from Barcelona. Oh, yeah, he's from Barcelona. We'll just get him. He must be very good at his job. No, he wasn't. He was rubbish. And he fleeced us as well. So he got a load of money in his back pocket. So for me, just Cronkies, just go, get out, just go. I've had enough now. You've made fools of yourselves over the past few days, and no, it's seriously ticked me off. This has so sorry about this rant, but yeah, I just want them gone now, guys. Seriously, just want them gone.
No, I totally agree, mate. Totally, you rant away. But one thing I've just picked up, I don't think that Edu's partnership with Arteta can be really, really judged properly. I think a lot of what they've done has been really, really good, if I'm honest. We have gone in, started to go in.
Sorry.
You want to say something, Mel?
Goalkeeper. Sorry.
No, you're right. I mean, Edu by himself has only had one window, hasn't he? I mean, Raul Sanjay, he was still here when William was signed. So Edu's basically brought in Gabriel and he's brought in Partey. That's very good. Don't get me wrong. That's fine with me. Gabriel's future, Partey, all right, he's been hit and miss. He hasn't been fit. He's been injured. But that down to me is training and getting him and rushing him back. That's down to the management and everybody else. Yeah, I'm behind Edu. Honestly, I've got no issue with him. This summer is massive for this club.
Yeah,
seriously.
I've got no issue with them paying off all the players that they did in January as well, because someone had to get rid of them. And we couldn't just sit around waiting for their contracts to expire. We needed to get those personalities out of the club. And they just took the route that they had to do do that. It wasn't their fault that they were on those contracts and they were at the club. So I was fully behind that. And I know that it was absolutely a load of crap that we had to pay them off, but we had to do something. And they actually took decisive action and got it done. They brought in players that are starting to look a lot better than we used to in the past, with players like Odegaard coming in, Partey coming in, Gabriel coming in at the back. Are steps in the right direction. But I'm not saying that I'm praising them. I'm just saying that I think it's too early to actually be able to judge them properly, because obviously all the windows that they've been here as well have been in the worst part of football in living memory for anyone with this pandemic situation. So we haven't had a normal window where we can buy and sell players like we used to. We've had to do an awful lot of wheeling and dealing. We could get Del Boy in. That would be quite good, actually. Maybe after daily to do.
No, we don't want Harry Redknapp. No, we don't.
Oh, good.
No.
Just a bit of an update. It's now going mad on social media and Twitter, basically. A statement is due by the club to confirm we are pulling out of this super duper league, what you want to call it.
You see, we can't even get this right. We have to wait hours and hours and hours to do it when all the others have already done it. So
only two of them.
It's like we're in the same, isn't it, Russ? It's like we're in the transfer market with us.
Yeah, I wait till the last minute.
And 8 weeks later, we buy him. Just get it done, mate. Get it done.
All they have to do is just put something out on the website. Yeah, we're pulled out.
The thing is, though, right?
James reckons we've withdrawn.
Yeah.
How would we all feel, right? If, say, for example, all these 6 clubs that have signed up for it and are now starting to pull out. If the Premier League turns around and says, right, we're deducting 25 points off all of you, right, and it meant we got relegated. How would we feel about that?
I'll be pissed off, but I'll be pissed off at our owner for that.
Yeah,
he's
I'll
put us
just
in that
ask the
situation.
owner with lit torches and pitchforks, rather than holding up bits of paper saying "Knock it out."
Yeah. We're not getting into Europe next year anyway, so it's not a problem.
Well, there's plans for protesting and social distance and all that. Obviously, protesting on Friday before the game, 2 hours before the kickoff. A Conky out protest.
Apparently, it's come directly from Charles Watts. Gary's saying Arsenal. So finally, it's been announced, which we all knew it was coming. But
we're leaving to something that never existed in the first place, really.
Basically, yeah. That's the gist of it.
We've pulled out of, Christmas because that doesn't exist.
It's like
pulled out of me walking to the park earlier. Yeah, sorry about that.
I think Elliot from the Arsenal Vision put it on Twitter earlier, saying it's like the worst coup in ever. It's just such a failure. But at least looks like it's definitely happened now. Which we, like I said, we knew it was coming, but it's good that it's all done, so we can move on to the next stage of getting this guy out of the club for good. With that sort of breaking news there, it's put me off my track. I was going to go down a different route.
Seriously not on the sky yet.
You with it, Melvin. But Melvin, have you got something else you want to say? Because I've completely forgotten what I was going to ask you.
No, I'm just going to say that it's not on Sky yet. They
never do. Sky take forever to announce anything.
Right. It's
the Athletics Gunner blog, as he's now, as I call him, and Charles Watts. So they usually are very reliable.
Sure. Fair enough. All right. Fair enough.
So that is really good. In fact, to answer your question though, Richard, what would we do? We've got this, I would be actually fairly not happy. That's the wrong word, but I'd actually be quite excited to be in the Championship. That's bloody exciting league. And
You didn't want to be in the European Super League, but you'd be happy to be in the Championship.
I said on record, I would rather be in the Championship than be in that Europa Conference League, and I totally stand by that. I would never. That'd be even more embarrassing than being relegated in my book. That's why.
I mean, if we got relegated by default by having points deducted, as opposed to just being completely shit, then that's a different kettle of fish, I guess. If you're actually relegated because you finish in the bottom three because you don't win enough games, for a club like Arsenal, that would be completely unacceptable. So being relegated in these circumstances would be a lot more. I would be able to accept that a lot more easily.
A bit more palatable, yeah.
We know that we would have finished 10th or whatever in the league, and instead they've relegated us and relegated Tottenham as well, and Chelsea, whoever else they might relegate. I doubt they'll relegate Man United and Man City because they'd have to take off too many points to relegate them two. Plus, you can only relegate 3 teams anyway, and it would just be us, Chelsea, and Tottenham probably. Which is, if that's going to be our punishment, then I suppose that's the way it is, isn't it?
Well, Liverpool and United were the instigators, so they should get relegated.
Exactly. Have the title taken off them.
No, all 6 of us.
They can have Chelsea can have the European Cup taken off them.
Can you imagine? Could you imagine if this would have been done when the fans were there?
It wouldn't have happened, mate. Wouldn't have happened. There'd have been absolute riots.
Fans in the stadium. VAR wouldn't be like it is, would it? There'd be loads of things that wouldn't have happened with fans in the stadium.
If you actually stop and ask a Rangers fan now if they regret their last few years, what do you think they'd say? After being relegated to the bottom league, working their way through, winning every single league as they were going through, and now going back to they've completely rebuilt, got their ship in order, and they're back to knock Celtic off their perch. I bet they're pretty happy with all that.
To change the subject slightly, I thought what happened to Rangers was a disgrace. Going down 3 or 4 divisions. That's never happened to any club. Disgraceful.
Celtic
absolutely disgraceful.
It was Celtic playing the powerhouse, basically.
Their fan base followed them through thick and thin.
Oh, yeah. Hats off.
Good luck to Rangers. Good luck to them.
Arsenal were in League 2. I would go and see them just as much as I would want to go and see them in the Premier League. I've got no issue with that.
It'd be easy to get a ticket, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It bloody wouldn't, though, would it? Because if Arsenal were in League 2, imagine what the crowds would be like. The home crowd, we played Rochdale, it'd be a sellout, wouldn't it? Every single game would be a sellout. It'd be ridiculous. You'd never get tickets, and you've got them stupid little crowds. We get about 500 away fans allowed. You'd never be able to go to games. You'd never be able to watch them on telly because TV aren't interested in League 2. We'd be knackered, wouldn't we? We'd never be able to watch the games.
Just looking at the comment saying, don't know if they'll deduct us points or relegate us, etc., etc. However, I think they'll fine us and possibly transfer embargo, as James says.
And transfer embargo, and we don't mind no one decent anyway. That'd be good.
We're the only team that will buy a goalkeeper in a whole transfer window, so it doesn't matter.
If it's a transfer embargo, it means that our owner won't sell because that's a good thing for him.
Yeah, he doesn't have to spend any money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he doesn't spend money in the first place.
Can you imagine though if the news comes out really quickly, quite soon? Because I'm sure it's come out on fairly good authority that Liverpool is officially up for sale already. After that.
Well, they are. They are up for sale.
Yeah. And can you imagine if it comes out really quite quickly that Arsenal are up for sale? Then
they're up for sale. It will be done quietly. You will not hear about Arsenal being up for sale. He knows who the players are, the owner. The owner knows there's 3 or 4 players out there from a couple of years ago. He will not go with a banner, we're up for sale, because that gets the price lower.
Twitter now. Check Arsenal's Twitter now. They've put a statement.
Have you seen that? Yeah.
Check it. Read the statement. You'll enjoy it.
Oh, God.
Let's have a quick look.
We listen to you fans. Yeah, I've just literally seen it. As a result of listening to you and the wider football community.
Take us for months.
Oh dear. Over recent days, we are withdrawing from the proposed Super League. We made a mistake and we apologise for it. Yeah.
All right, you made a mistake. You made a mistake. Whose head's going to roll? That's what I want to know.
I'll read out the whole thing.
Stan's head.
The last few days have shown us yet again the depth of feeling our supporters around the world have for this great club and the game we love. We needed no reminding of this, but the response from supporters in recent days has given us time for reflection and deep thought. It was never our intention to cause such a distress. However, when the invitation to join the Super League came, whilst knowing there were no guarantees, we did not want to be left behind to ensure we protected Arsenal and its future. As a result of listening to you and the wider football community over recent days, we are withdrawing from the proposed Super League. We made a mistake and we apologise for it. We know it will take time to restore your faith in what we are trying to achieve here at Arsenal, but let us be clear that the decision to be part of the Super League was driven by our desire to protect Arsenal, the club,
by money,
and the game you love through greater solidarity and financial stability.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Pathetic, isn't it? Absolutely pathetic.
Can we talk after I finished it? Hang on a sec, please. Stability is essential for the game to prosper, and we will continue to strive to bring the security the game needs to move forward. The system needs to be fixed. We must work together to find solutions which protect the future of the game and harness the extraordinary power football has to get us on the edge of our seats. Finally, we know this has been hugely unsettling at the end of what has been an incredibly difficult year for us all. Our aim is always to make the right decisions for this great football club, to protect it for the future and to take us forward. We didn't make the right decision here, which we fully accept. We have heard you. The Arsenal board. No one's name against it, just the Arsenal
He's staying
board.
put. That's straight from KSE himself. That's how it's worded. Like they're staying put.
There is no name on that again. Not from Vinay, not from that. Just I was just hoping, but there's going to be someone actually sign it off, and it wasn't. Exactly the same as the original statement. There's no one put their name to it. No one.
Headshot.
The whole thing is bullshit. That they've basically all the clubs that joined it have been basically found out they were threatened with too many different things that would have affected the clubs, so they pulled out. It's nothing to do with listening to us. They don't give a fuck about us. They never have done. They haven't cared about us for a long time. I think that it was our reason. Do you know what I mean? That's just absolute. That is the biggest load of bullshit ever. That statement. Whoever wrote that should be sacked and all, along with Kroenke and everyone else. That's ridiculous.
No one's got the name on it. We don't know who to sack, do we? So
sack them all.
I mean,
sack them all. Everyone.
It's just honestly, it just reeks. This whole thing, it just reeks.
That is a dreadful statement from Arsenal. That is disgusting. Actually, that's almost worse than the statement they brought out the other day to say they joined it.
Literally,
I'm not stupid. I'm not thick. I'm not trying to stick up for the club that I love, right? But this just isn't. This is not Arsenal. This is KSE. This is not Arsenal doing this.
They are Arsenal. That's the problem. They are now Arsenal.
This is not. They are the owners of the club because they bought. They are nothing to do with Arsenal. They are scum. They are parasitic scum. This is really Arsenal.
Yeah. It's
what annoys me about it. It's dragging our name through the mud, through the gutter.
Yeah,
that company.
And since this statement's gone out, I'm literally on Twitter now, and it's kicking off the fans. Are literally saying, "Don't accept it. Stick it where the sun don't shine. Relegate all six." It says Harry Simu and Kroenke out. Kroenke, we're coming for you.
It stinks. I'm absolutely fuming because
Tottenham have released virtually the same statement as well.
It's like
copy and paste, basically.
Although Daniel Levy has actually put his name to their statement, though their apology. So at least he's got bollocks to stand up and say,
exactly.
I'm taking responsibility for this.
This is
we're in a mess. I think we're in a mess. They're in a mess.
Levy won't go, will he?
Absolutely fuming about it. It's just, it's not. I mean, I'm glad that the whole thing is just closed. We're going to have to face the consequences of what's going to happen now.
Yep.
But at least it's gone. At least it's over. We can move forward. However, this ownership of our club, because it's our fucking club, right? It's just making me so angry about what they are doing to the club's name. It really is. And I'm lost for words, really. I really am. This thing is going to happen Friday.
Just come on.
There's going to be a
and Tottenham.
There's going to be a big, demonstration on Friday, isn't there? Adam, you were on the meeting.
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I mean, I just really hope that it gets bigger and bigger. I really hope so, because I know what you said before. It ain't going to do anything. It ain't going to do anything. But I just want it to be spread. And what was interesting, which I don't know whether you picked up on from the meeting, was that they are getting together some kind of American demonstration. Did you hear about that? Did you listen to that?
Yeah, I did. I listened to that part, and I read about it today as well. Yeah, I mean, it's good that they're getting movements as far wide as possible. I mean, especially in America, which is obviously where KSE are based. So if he can get some sort of movement in that country, it can only benefit the situation. I think, again, I've just read that statement as well. I mean, that statement, as we've all just seen, is just going to anger our support more. And I think it's just going to drive that, the attendance to that, Friday night even more than it has been. I mean, to kind of say that we don't want to get left behind, how small club mentality does that sound? Like we're begging to be part of it. We're the Arsenal. We don't have to beg for nothing. They're like, that little line on its own just really affected me. Like, we didn't want to be left behind. It's like, come on. We're better than that.
We've been left behind for 20 years. What are they on about?
We have, but
they've
now
done
they're just
nothing to
literally
make us
saying
compete
it.
in the last 20 years.
No, but like, they're literally just hanging on coattails is what they're doing there. It's just like, come on, we want to be a part of you. And we all know we're not anymore. We want to be. We ain't got the owners who are going to do that. But it stinks. It really stinks.
Well, if they invested the money in the right thing to start with, i.e. the team and the players and the right structure at the club 20 years ago, we wouldn't need to be scrambling to get in some bullshit league. We'd be competing anyway. We'd be in the top four. We'd be winning titles. So it's their fault. And that's why we wanted to compete. Well, do your fucking job then.
Yeah, exactly.
If we done your job in the first place, we wouldn't even need to be worrying about this, would we? Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. That statement is bullshit. Every single one of them on that board should resign immediately. Every single one of them.
And then the owner could put an owner to put his club up for sale 100% tonight, right now.
Let's just walk out. All the ball should walk. Every single one of that ball should walk out. And I include Edu and fucking Arteta in that as well, if they got anything to do about it.
I don't think Arteta had anything to do with it.
So
walk out that door tonight. Every single one of them.
But we've already known that the other clubs, the managers and the players didn't know anything about this. So I don't think we can sort of, we can't really sort of pull them into it, because this has gone on behind closed doors, hasn't it? All of this has gone on up on the top level of every club that was involved in this. This has been hush-hush. Well, it's not been hush-hush. There's always been rumours about it. But suddenly this has all come out on Sunday. We can't really blame the manager or the players for this. This is definitely, the board needs to take, somebody's head does need to roll. I agree with that.
Why haven't the players or the manager in the last 2 days come out with statements like other clubs have done? Why have they been quiet? Why?
They've probably been told that they have to.
Did you?
Unfortunately, Arteta hasn't had a press conference since, has he? So,
well, you call one, don't you? You call a press conference. You say this. We're not happy about this. That's what you do. Then you know 100% that they were against it. Now they can come out and say whatever they like because we're not in it anymore.
Yeah, they can say, "Oh, yeah, we're against it anyway."
You say you don't agree with it now.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Why didn't you come out the day it was announced, the day after on Monday? Arsenal should have had a press conference with Arteta, the captain, if he's even still a captain, right? They should have come out and said, "We're against this. We oppose this." Then everybody's happy. We all know, right, they're against it now. We don't know if they're against it or not. We don't know nothing because nobody said anything. And now they come out with a bullshit statement.
I feel sorry for Arteta, though. Really, really sorry. The first 18 months of being a manager, look what fucking shit he's had to deal with. And now the club have landed this on his lap. They ain't going to come out and say nothing. It's going to be down to him in tomorrow's.
If it's too hard for him, you know what he can do. He can write his letter of resignation.
18 months into his managerial job. And he's going to have to go against his boss who hired him to run the club. And he's going to have to go against him and say it was all a load of bollocks. I mean, I feel sorry for the guy. I really do.
I don't feel sorry for any Arsenal player or manager. I'd love to be one of those.
Exactly.
I feel sorry for
him.
You've got to stand up. You've got to, you know what I mean? It's a tough job. It's a high pressure job. It's a highly paid job as well. And if it means making difficult decisions, that's what it's about. And if a difficult decision is standing up against the owners of the club and saying, I don't agree with this, this is not what I want, and resigning on the spot, that's what you've got to do sometimes. Arteta's been quiet, and to me, that's wrong.
He's not on 35 grand a year as a sales executive, is he? He's on like what? I don't know, 5 million quid a year.
All the more reason why he's got to do his job.
You can't just walk out. You can't just walk out of a job like that, can you? I mean, when you've got responsibilities in the middle of a pandemic. It just ain't going to happen. When you've got like,
if you earn £8 grand a year, you'll have no savings to last you for 2 months with another job, will you? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think he's just short of a few quid, even before he became coach at City or Arsenal manager. Exactly. He had a lovely career, didn't he, as a footballer?
People with money like that can be principled because they can afford to be principled. I can't afford to walk out of a job on principle because I'll be knackered. But they can.
If he's that good, he'll get a job straight away, won't he, Richard?
Of course he will. He's a next Pep, isn't he? So of course he'll get a job straight away. I don't know why. All he had to do was come out and say he was against it. That's all you needed to do. All of them, the players as well. Aubameyang. You see that tweet Aubameyang put out, which he since deleted.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
You know
how condescending was he? Or basically tough. Basically, what it was. I've been away for a few days on social media because obviously his illness and all that. Come back, and so it's all gone off over football. Can't talk about the ESL. Can't talk about football in general. And he basically need to get our priorities straight. Basically,
I thought what you on about.
To get our priorities straight and just talk about the racism and abuse, which we do. Don't get us wrong, we do this. But at a moment, whenever it was going off, we were doing what we thought we could do the best for our club. We were showing unity, not just for our club, but football in general in England. So yeah, we got our priorities straight. That's not the way you wanted it.
I mean, what a ridiculous statement it is from the captain of a club like Arsenal in the circumstances at that particular time, or the circumstances that's still going to be ongoing for a while. For him to come out and tweet that is an absolute disgrace. I mean, if turning up late for a North London derby is not bad enough to get the captaincy taken off, what more has he got to do? Honestly, what more has he got to do? I don't want him even playing for the club after that, let alone be captain. Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. That was the most ridiculous thing ever. Yeah, he's deleted it since, but it's too late, mate. We've all seen it. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's exactly right what James has put there. I totally agree. I love how they say we don't want to miss out. Stan was the vice president, for fuck's sake. He was leading the ship, joining the ship. I can't take these snakes 1 minute more. Get them fucking out. I mean, I couldn't agree more, James.
I want to complain about James. I want to complain about James. James, get another pod out, mate. Come on. Get to it.
Get off your backside. Come on. So lazy.
Come on. You're missing it.
Jack's been quite busy having another baby, isn't he? And congratulations.
Congrats.
So yeah, congratulations, Jack.
Right.
Thank you, Gary. That's fantastic.
So we take the advice of Rio Ferdinand as piling together and buy the club ourselves then? Do what Rio Ferdinand says because we're not happy. Like
Newcastle GoFundMe page. That's what we need to do. Arsenal got millions of fans. We only have to put in a couple of quid each and we'll get it sorted.
Melvin's got enough money.
Well, yeah,
he's got his guns in the phone.
Yesterday, it might come down a bit today. So.
He's had to sell his shares, isn't he?
Yeah. Just throw your dungeon in as a bit extra.
I'm not selling that. I'm not selling that.
He sold his other house. It's attached to the sort of the back. You know, that's why he's moved.
You're making call
to
Switzerland.
Some of you people live in houses that have got roads.
He's got a moat around his house.
Yeah, roads. Don't live in a road.
I live in a cul-de-sac, Melvin.
Oh, what's that? What's a cul-de-sac?
Actually, I'm quite posh living in a cul-de-sac.
I live in the woods.
Actually, Richard, I live in a cul-de-sac. Genuine, I live in a cul-de-sac.
Oh dear.
The best way, the best road. You don't get people constantly driving past up and down your house, do you? It's just you don't get nothing. You don't get traffic on.
That's exactly right. No passing trains.
It's peaceful. That's so nice.
Yeah.
If anyone's got the link as well for the petition to help save the Tollington, that
I saw that the other day.
Post not long ago. I'll have to find it again and retweet it out. Give that a sign because very much in trouble there. They're not only going to lose the pub, they're going to lose their livelihoods of those of all the staff that they've got and their home, obviously, as well, because of a similar sort of, on a smaller scale, but a similar sort of way
to
landlords. The landlords.
Greed and corruption is everywhere.
Maybe they could create a super league of pubs.
We haven't mentioned them once. On this now, they're going to lose a lot of money in trade, and we should feel sorry for these people because they put a lot back into the game. The agents. We should feel a lot of sorry for them, and I think we should start. I'm going to start a petition. Any spare money you got for the agents, because they're not very happy now. Look what they could have done. The world could have been their lobster. The world could have been their lobster.
Yeah, Riola and all them people. Yeah, GoFundMe page.
I'll try, Mark. I will try if I catch you.
Oh dear. Just say we need a new laptop. We're not in work. Can you help us out? It worked for other people, another person anyway.
Well, hopefully, shortly he'll be back.
Yeah,
really good show. Really good.
Yeah,
Neil being back because cricket, wasn't it?
Yeah, Melvin has told us earlier about
cricket
that.
Thing. I spoke to Neil. Yeah, he put something completely cricket. He was talking about, I think, India cricket winning, and I think in the background he might have had a picture of something going on. And Twitter, of course, the word, can't do that. Oh no, you can be racist on it, but you can't do that. You know what I mean? It's absolute madness. Baggy trousers.
Neil posted a racist comment. Nothing would have happened.
Of course not. That's what I said. That's right.
Copyrighted material.
Well, the police might have come around his house. To be fair, the police would have knocked on his door. But
I think he was less than 6 feet away from someone next door. Though there were walls between them, so the police had to come around. Not allowed to be less than 6 feet next to your next door neighbour. So I think that's what done him. Ridiculous.
Something else I've already mentioned, James, about the Gooner. I've put that on Twitter a few times. Please go. I mean, it's 35 quid a year to subscribe to the Gooner, one of the original fanzines that was ever produced in the UK. It's fantastic. Read here. I've got
loads of them in my loft.
I've got loads of them over there.
Just a few copies here that I've got after subscribing again recently. Fantastic read. Please go and find that and subscribe to it. 35 quid a year. Anywhere in the world they'll post to. And we cannot let that kind of publication go under as well. So I have said that before, but definitely well worth reiterating, James. Thank you. Go and find that.
James should come on here if he gets a chance, or come on one of the pods if he's got nothing to do.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. Get him on here.
Definitely.
Richard or Ryan.
Yeah, definitely. We'll sort that out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Go and find that for the Tollington as well. I know that people may listen to this from. I've seen all the different countries that listen to the podcast, which is absolutely wonderful. But I know that many of you may not even heard of the Tollington or been to the Tollington, but it's a bit of an Arsenal institution, and the lovely people down there. I've been in there many times, and it's a real shame what's happening to them. It's not just them. It's happening across the world, obviously, but we've got to look after our own as part of the Gooner family. And please go and help them by signing that petition to help stop the Tollington being closed down. Anyway, I think we could go on for ages. It's late at night. I'm sure everyone's got work tomorrow or whatever. I really want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for coming on as well, Ryan, Melvin, Adam, Richard, and Russ. It's I'm sure there's loads more we could have spoken about, but I'm absolutely fuming at that statement that has been put out. I really am. I'm not in a good mood at all after reading that. It's just a utter disgrace.
It's disgusting.
So we'll leave it there for this episode. Thank God we're out of the ESL, which never even got started. I think the fight has only just begun in many, many ways.
Ian Wright has just tweeted out #Cronky out.
Good. Get Ian Wright on the fucking board. Someone like him with passion and desire and love for the club.
Get Ian Wright on the pod.
Yeah, get him on the pod as well. Yeah, reach out.
Come on my pod.
Reach out to him.
Right, he's more than welcome to come on my channel.
Where you got a pair of his shoes from, mate? He never even replied to that.
You can get him on your next quiz, Ryan.
Yeah, he'd be good on a quiz, wouldn't he? Doing a Who Am I quiz, he'd be good at that, I reckon. Ian Wright would.
He might beat you, Richard. He might beat
be,
you.
yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think he'd be decent. Get him on, Ryan. Invite him on that. Say it's the greatest quiz on YouTube. He needs to come on.
Well, technically, it is.
Yeah, exactly what it is.
You doubt that.
You wouldn't be lying.
I thoroughly enjoy coming last every single time. It's fucking amazing. But thanks to everyone. I mean, there's so many people: Mark, James, Gary, Steve, the list goes, Shane, Mark. Oh, I said Mark. All of you. Thank you ever so much for watching. It's been brilliant in the chat today. Give us a like and follow, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you listen to Spotify or iTunes or whatever, go and follow and find us on there, and all of the other shows that are represented here today as well. Give us a review. I don't know whether I've got any review whatsoever on there, so it'll be fantastic. Help me get found. So I'll go around. Ryan, Mr. Arsenal 89.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows your channel. It's we'll give it a shout out, mate.
Yeah, you can. Thanks for having me on, by the way, and really do appreciate you inviting. I've enjoyed tonight, more so because of the news, obviously. So that's sort of helped a bit, and then the statement put me down a bit, but we're here. Yeah, you can find me on YouTube though at the Mr. Arsenal podcast. Also, you can find me on audio as well, which I'm literally, as we speak, downloading the audio for last night's stream and putting that up on Anchor, Apple Podcast, whatever you call that, and Google, Spotify, and all them sort of audio platforms. It'll be available on there as well, and that's what I usually do most of the time now. And yeah, as you said, you can find me on Twitter as well at Mr. Arsenal89. And again, yeah, thank you for having me on.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming on, mate, making the time. Melvin, very many thanks to you as well. God, everyone knows where you can find you, on your sofa or in the other room with the spotlights.
Hiding in a dungeon, yeah. No, I mean, I've been on this channel many times. I mean, I'm Richard's over and over again. Most times, very good on that. I love being on that. And also Ryan's channel goes through. So just enjoy doing it. Thanks very much, gentlemen.
No problem at all. I know it's well past your bedtime, so thanks a lot, Melvin.
Don't get it.
No sugar in the Horlicks tonight, please, Sarah.
Thank you for coming on.
He's got a personal maid as well. That's brilliant, isn't it? How the other half live, eh?
Where can people find you, Adam? Shout out your Twitter handle.
He's on mute.
You're on mute. You're on mute. Adam. Take yourself on mute.
3 syllables. Sounds like.
Yeah, I just discovered that my headphones had died on me, so excuse me for that. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, you can find me at Adam792001. Really enjoyed being on. So really good to obviously chat with fellow Gooners, debate a few things. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that. Cheers, gents.
No problem at all. You're welcome anytime, mate. And yeah, follow, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And you're welcome back on any week. Richard, thank you, mate. Where are you? Where can people find you? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I've slightly changed the name of my channel actually this week. I've had a bit of a rebranding gone on today. I'm so annoyed and upset with what's been going on. So it's still called Over and Over and Over Again, but it's kind of re-tagged the Arsenal History Channel because I'm going to focus more on what made Arsenal the club that it is, or what it has been, rather than what it is at this current moment in time. So I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff on the history of the club actually, as opposed to maybe the current. I will still do the usual match reviews and stuff for a bit, but I'm going to focus more on where the club came from and what has made Arsenal, even to be invited into this fantastic Super League. Why have we got to that point? What have we done? It's obviously to do with our history, and that's what I want to focus on now. So it's Over and Over and Over Again, the Arsenal History Channel. So tune into that to catch up with the history of this once fantastic institute of
fantastic, great show. and I look forward to being on with you on Friday. It's Friday, isn't it? Yes. And Russ, thanks ever so much, mate. Great to have you on again. It's been a while, so
it has, my friend. Yes. So yeah. I've just been really busy. So yeah, unfortunately, just life gets in the way sometimes. But yeah, so
to be fair, but it's great to have you on. I'm joking, of course. You know you're welcome on any single week.
Thank you very much for the invite, Andrew. You can find me at RuggyBoy101 on Twitter and Arsenal Central on YouTube. So yeah, if you could just do something, when the stream's finished, obviously.
I'll do it at the same time. I multitask.
We can't multitask. We're Arsenal fans.
But once again, I apologise that I haven't been as regularly doing the show lately. I've been studying as well. I've gone back to college, believe it or not, ready to start doing a degree. So I've been really, really up against it. But I'm going to be hopefully doing a regular weekly show again from now on. And normally it's Wednesdays, as everyone knows. But it's been really, really hectic. So fingers crossed I'm back to the normal weekly slot from now on. But thanks everyone again, and we look forward to seeing you all next week. Come on, you Gunners, we can say.
Come on, you Gunners.